What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to Breaking News. SBA EIDL Senate Bombshell Part 2. TGIF, it is August the 26th, 2022. Please do me a huge favor, give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. And if you are a small business owner or a side hustler, it's time that we come together as one at trysmallbiz.com, where you can advertise your company today. So go to trysmallbiz.com tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read out loud parts of Joe Manchin's letter that he sent, signed by 50 senators to the SBA a few weeks ago. I'm going to step in and give you some real-time updates, both good and bad. And by the end of this 10, maybe 15-minute video, you're going to know exactly where you stand with respect to the EIDL loan increase. So ladies and gentlemen, pull up a chair. Grab a cup of coffee, ice cold beer, glass of wine, whiskey on a big rock, bottle of champagne. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to show you this. Right here. Not a sponsor yet. Sports Research, dark chocolate, collagen peptides. Get your Amazon Prime out, kind of pricey. Get some of this. You want to look like I'm 52, but I feel like I'm 32. I've lost 14 pounds in the last month. I feel amazing. It helps your gut lining, your skin, your inflammation, your joints. I mean, I literally feel like I could put the pads on, quarterback in high school, free safety through college, SLU out of New York. This stuff right here. I mean, you take a scoop of this. It's incredible. Cafe mocha. If you like coffee and chocolate, tell me in the comments below. I mean, it says right here, 1 scoop a day will help you look absolutely fabulous when you're on Tucker Carlson's show, exposing the SBA EIDL fraud. For the life of me, it's good stuff. Sports Research, dark chocolate, collagen peptides. I also use their zinc, their vitamin C, their D and K2. It's amazing stuff. Get some today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read out loud an unresolved issue because we have 120 members of the House, 70 led by Miss Strickland. I believe she's out of Oregon in the House. There were 67 Democrats, 3 Republicans that signed a letter over a month ago. And on July the 29th or 19th, forgive me if I don't know the exact date, Joe Manchin and 49 other senators sent the following letter over the wall to the SBA. And as we sit here right now, we still have unresolved issues, particularly with those that are being deemed unworkable, aka stuck, and reconsideration. So follow me along, and I quote, "Dear Administrator Guzman," this is the one and only Joe Manchin, the most hated man on the far left, arguably responsible for holding us, for the moment anyway, together as a so-called democracy. We write today. It's this stuff. It's amazing. It's just amazing. We write today to ask the Small Business Administration to resume processing COVID EIDL loans. Applications that were received prior to the agency's May 6th request deadline, and to ensure that the applicants with outstanding appeals receive due consideration. Let's just stop right there. In fact, let's just read that fucking line out loud one more time. We write today, and this is a few weeks ago, still unresolved, to ask the SBA to resume processing COVID EIDL loan applications that were received prior to the agency's May 6th 2022 request deadline, and to ensure that applicants with outstanding appeals, reconsideration, receive due consideration. I have been nearly tossed off social media. Andrew Tate, wiped clean, was on Tucker Carlson. I'm going to be on Tucker Carlson. Let me just let the cat out of the bag right now. I threw this intention out there. I'm going to be on Tucker. Give me 30 to 45 days. Well before the election, to expose the corruption at the SBA. Tucker, I'm getting in shape. I got my sports research because Joe Manchin, it sounds like we wrote it, didn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Anyone who got in prior to the May 6, 22 deadline request, we're here to ensure that the applicants with outstanding appeals receive due reconsideration. End quote. While we recognize the agency has assisted an unprecedented number of small business throughout the pandemic, our offices continue to hear from thousands of prospective borrowers awaiting consideration. And he often uses the term consideration with respect to reconsideration or appeal. We also continue to hear that EIDL applicants with disputed rejections, reconsideration, have received no communication from the administration in months. Now, why is that? Outsourced so-called talent. When you call the SBA, and I rightly pointed this out, and it's somewhat funny, we'll skip over that today. It's somebody, well, it's Martha. She's sitting there petting her cat, arguing with Buford, who's cracking open a beer in the other room. In other words, she has no fucking idea what she's talking about when she says that idle funds have been exhausted, Miss Feinstein, and the program ended May 6th, because remember, as I pointed out in the last video, it's this stuff right here. I pointed out in the last video, Ben Cardin said, unworkable doesn't mean denied. Unworkable doesn't mean denied. Unworkable doesn't mean denied. And he also said, do not leave anyone in the lurch. So allow me to continue. EIDL was a lifeline for businesses. Am I making any sense? Tell me in the comments. Am I making any sense? Do you realize I'm not going anywhere until you get your money? And that includes the $10,000 grant. And then when we're done with that, we're going to get more deferment and forgiveness. Probably in 2024, they're going to make us feel some pain after this student loan debacle. While funds remain, Joe goes on to say, we expect the SBA to process all eligible applications and appeals that have been submitted by the request deadline, which is what? May the 6th. Allow me to pause for a second. Ben Cardin, Joe Manchin, 48 other senators, which, believe it or not, includes Ms. Feinstein on this letter, are saying the same thing that I, someone who's been shadow banned and nearly tossed off Twitter in the last 72 hours. I lost my local congresswoman, Nikema Williams. Thank you very much for following me back yesterday. Let's just say that I was told I need to tone it down. So I've agreed to stop swearing so much on Twitter. That's not going to be the case on YouTube. I've also agreed, believe it or not, and you may have noticed this, to stop calling Biden by his nicknames. It's either going to be Joe Biden, or President Biden for the rest of this year. But we're all on the same page with 120. It's all over the rails today, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday. I don't know about you, but I've had one hell of a week. But hear me out on this one. We are on the same page, the exact same page with Joe Manchin, Dianne Feinstein, Jackie Rosen, John Cornyn, Chris Van Hollen, and 5 or 4 other senators, including 70 members of the House. Finish the job. Finish the job. And that includes everyone in idle, what they call consideration or appeal. But here's what I want to focus on before I let you get on with your weekend. Joe Manchin goes on to say, and I'll put another copy of this pinned in the top, quote, given that many applicants have not received final consideration, which again is also reconsideration, we find it difficult to understand that the SBA's decision to stop processing requests that were submitted by the May 6th deadline. Right? That's all we're saying. What have I been saying for the last 3 weeks? Anyone who got in before the Friday, May 6th deadline, as Ben Cardin and Chris Van Hollen said that very same day, don't you end that program. Don't you stop funding people. There's $7 billion of idle loan increase, by the way. Thank you to all those people that are telling me to settle down a little bit. You're worried that I might have a stroke or a heart attack. Not going to happen. I had a premonition many years ago. I actually had a palm reader in Key West. Told me I was going to live to be 92, which, by the way, was the same age that my mother's parents, my grandparents, lived to be, 92 years old. So I appreciate the concern, but the fight goes on. But the moral of the story is we're all on the same page. If you got in prior to May 6th deadline, and I've suggested this both out in front and behind the scenes to the SBA, you should be given one more chance. And if you fail this time, it's on you, not them. Have a pre-qualification process similar to a credit card. You got to have a minimum credit score, let's say a 580. You got to have a valid driver's license and avoided corporate check. And most importantly, perhaps, you got to have your 4506T or 2019 taxes, even if they were amended, done and approved by the IRS. If you have that, and I know for a fact that Joe Manchin and others agree, you should be given one more chance. He goes on to say, quote, rather than process, well, he's all over the place today. I am. I am very confident that you're going to get your money. I have reasons to believe that there's another letter coming soon, but I don't know. Did I say that or is it just this stuff? I don't know. Pay attention to what happens in the next few days. Rather than processing every eligible applicant as it should, the agency has fallen back on a vague commitment to process, quote, workable applications. Based on this unsatisfying standard, and he speaks on behalf of half the Senate, our offices have seen far too many deserving applicants turned away by the SBA. This guy right here has seen thousands over the last 2 years. And in case you haven't heard me over the last 24 months, we ain't going anywhere until you get your EIDL loan increase. They defer this well beyond the election. Forgive it sometime before 2024. And yes, and again, it's this stuff. It's not drugs. You forgive that damn EIDL loan so that the small business owners in this country never pay the SBA a friggin' dime. Quote, workability, Joe says, is not an acceptable standard to justify rejecting a borrower who is eligible, like most of you watching me right now, and in need. The bar for denial is eligibility, thank you, Joe, not the SBA's willingness to continue processing applications. We find it particularly troubling, and pay attention to this sentence, that your agency continues to tell our offices that loans cannot be completed due to the exhaustion of funds, which they still say if you call the number, but it was taken off 2 days after the Senate hearing led by Ben Cardin, chairman, most powerful with respect to small business and EIDL, who told Patrick Kelly, get that off there. You're not out of money, you get it off there. But if you call customer service, what do they tell you? What's Diane Clueless Feinstein out in California? You deserve that nickname. I can't call Biden any nicknames, but I just called her one, who says that the program ended May 6th and remains closed. Wrong. And at the very least, 120 members of the House and Senate are saying, you finished the job. And here's the final sentence before I let you get on with your weekend. Quote, we find it particularly troubling that your agency continues to tell our offices in the Senate, this is Joe Manchin, that loans cannot be completed due to the exhaustion of funds when, as I've said many times, $800 million in loan subsidies remains. EIDL loan subsidies in the amount of $800 million leverages up to $7 billion. Quote, enough to support more than $7 billion in lending. In other words, despite what I'm being labeled as just some blogger, right? He's just some blogger. He's just some cranked up blogger on sports research, dark chocolate, collagen peptides, who looks like he's going to have a stroke, but actually feels absolutely amazing at 52 years of age. Because in case you haven't heard, and I'll put a copy of this in the pinned comment below, I ain't going anywhere. As God is my witness, down 17 pounds, soon to be 27, I ain't going anywhere until every single one of you gets the $10,000 grant that you were promised in the CARES Act. They defer these loans till well beyond the election, just like they did with the student fiasco. And yes, at some point before the 2024 election, because they're probably going to make us feel just a little bit of pain, you get that loan forgiven so you and your family and your small business never pay the SBA a fucking dime. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, to all my F-bombers out there, that I absolutely love you. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I see you at trysmallbiz.com.